Hi there and welcome. My name is Matt Kesby, CEO of GoVA. Hope you've got yourself a coffee and perhaps a cool drink and ready to sit in and tackle the first of our learning series on the 4 simple rules for effective outsourcing. How SMEs can apply the same tactics as the world's most successful companies to outperform their competition. A little bit of a background on us, first of all, for those that are new to GoVA. We help businesses scale through outsourcing offshore and process improvement. Our whole reason for being is to help you improve your results. And our partners based in both Australia and in the Philippines are here to assist you to really address what are the common challenges for most organisations: increasing revenue, improving customer service and decreasing costs. Our outsourcing centre that's here to assist your business to scale has really been born from the great work that we've done at Franklin Covey, working with many great organisations around Australia, helping them to execute their goals and deliver upon their strategies by utilising the methodologies of the 4 disciplines of execution. And the work there that I've been doing as their execution practice leader, one of the real great discoveries was as much as we can increase the effectiveness of a human being locally in Australia, there are still many items that could be offshored at a much lower and more affordable price so that we can have our local team members work more strategically on those activities that really drive results within their business. And we're very proud to say we've got many great clients that are based out of our centre in CEBU in the Philippines. And for those that may have even recently been to the Jim Collins event, where there were thousands of people in the seats, you may have been there because of the team working tirelessly to contact people like yourself to be able to join that event. We assist organisations everywhere from New York Stock Exchange listed, Australian Stock Exchange listed companies based in Singapore and Sweden, and all the way down to really unusual locations right throughout Australia. We typically work with organisations that have 20 people or more. However, we also find some of the smaller organisations that are just getting started utilise our service. Let's jump into today's topics. There's the 3 points here, the 4 rules of effective outsourcing offshore. I'll also share with you 4 core approaches for you to consider as you're looking at the whole concept of outsourcing to see which one is going to be the right fit for you. And so my role here today is just to help share some information to be informative and give you some education so you can make the decisions that are best for you. I'll also share with you a strategic workforce example so you can kind of dig a little deeper and get an idea of how this whole outsourcing can play out for you. So let's hit the first one, 4 rules of effective outsourcing offshore. Here they are. The first one is to begin with the end in mind, and anyone who may have done some work on Dr. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People may very well find this one quite familiar as habit 2. It's really important for us as human beings to get really clear, especially on our business goals, if we're going to be moving forward and increasing our team size with outsourcing. Number 2 is to deconstruct level 3 activities. Now this might be quite new to you as a consideration, so I will be sharing this one in depth, and we've even got an exercise for you that you can work on for both yourself and your team. Here we're going to zero in on the administrative and repeatable tasks so we can find the items that we can essentially move off the table and give those to your outsourced team members so we can free up that time for your key strategic resources. Number 3 is to systematize for scale. And I'll share with you some really great tips on how to create the right sorts of documentation and checklists and process maps and standard operating procedures, and how you can do this in a really rapid fire way so that you're preparing your business to go to the next level. And then the 4th rule here is talent selection criteria and making sure that you have got one so you can hire like a pro and really build an effective team. We'll share with you some insights and a few things of how we do it and give you a few ideas there as well. So let's jump into them. Rule number 1, to begin with the end in mind, get clear on those business goals. And you know, if in the absence of clear goals, it's easy for us to make poor choices, and it often takes me back to good old Alice in Wonderland, the children's story that can teach us a really powerful message. And you may recall the scene from Alice, if you've read the book, or the scene from the movie in Alice in Wonderland, where Alice gets to a point where she needs to make a decision on which way to go, and she turns to the cat and says, "Would you please tell me which way I ought to go from here?" And the cat replies, "Well, that depends a good deal on where you want to go." And Alice replies, I don't care much where, says Alice. Then it doesn't matter which way you go, said the cat. And here's the challenge. If we don't have a clear direction or path that we're heading in, we will meander and wander and often take really poor or rash choices that may lead us unhappy down the track, perhaps like our friend here. I'm not too sure if our friend here thought ahead around that tattoo future in life. Stephen Covey said it really well. He said, it's easy to say no when there's a deeper yes burning inside. And once you get really clear on what that big yes is within your business, so that when it comes to outsourcing, you can be very effective on deciding which parts of your business will scale the most and deliver you the best results. A tip I've got for everyone, probably like you, I love reading. One of my favourite books is The 4 Disciplines of Execution. I encourage you to grab that one and have a read, or contact Franklin Covey if you want to go even deeper with this methodology. It's incredibly powerful for getting clear on your business goals and driving the changes of human behaviour within your business. You know, they've a really great example of how to write goals. Most people have probably been to a SMART goal writing session before. This is the fastest way to write it. Verb, measure, from X to Y by when. An example here is to get clear on what it is you want to achieve. Now, if I was in a sales team, one goal for me could be to have increase new client revenue from 4 million to 5.2 million by the end of the year. That'd be a really well-structured goal. Now, once we've got it as what we want to achieve, we've got to consider, well, how are we going to get there? And often there are many different things that we could do to get there. We want to narrow that focus down again here. And here are some examples. That sales team could say some things like, meet with 5 new clients per week. They could also say, send out hot offerings, so maybe some new promotional items, products, to 25 potential new clients each week. Let's do a bit of a volume communication play. And then another item here, contact and connect with greater than 90% of new potential clients within 7 days of the promotion being sent, so some follow-up activities. These are items, and there could be 50 or 60 more different things that a person could do. Here, it's about narrowing the focus and really getting clear on what those top items are. In the absence of having a very clear goal that we need to deliver upon, moving towards outsourcing is not the smartest idea, because we can go very ad hoc and have lots of different tasks and items. But unless they are focused towards delivering a business goal, we won't get that really effective outcome. So that's rule number 1, begin with the end in mind. Rule number 2 is to deconstruct the level 3 activities. So this is supporting level the rule number 1. In rule number 2, there's 3 things I want us to really cover here. One is mindset and process. Another is understanding where your time is going to make a change. And we're going to use the workforce productivity pyramid to help give us that guidance. So from a process and mindset perspective, I want you to think about these 4 words: action, automate, delegate, and discard. When you've got an activity that's close to you, maybe it takes a few moments to complete, action it, get it done, get it out of the way. When you start to find repeatable tasks that can be done in the same or similar way on a regular basis, if you have the opportunity and the budget makes sense, automate that activity. Let's not even have it in human hands wherever we can. That's a really important component. Then, if it's not something that can be automated or it doesn't make sense to do right now, let's delegate it. Let's get it to somebody who can do that activity for you, or for key strategic team members, so they can free up their time to deliver even greater, higher level results. Then, of course, also consider amongst the tasks and activities that you or your team are currently doing, that there are many items that probably shouldn't even be done, so therefore discard those. It's a really simple, even a mantra that you can have in your mind: action, automate, delegate, discard. Print it out, put it on the wall. We've got downloadable examples of these on the website available for you. Let's now have a look at the workforce productivity pyramid as a way to look at, well, where are you currently spending and investing your time, and your team members as well, so we can start to make some smart changes and to further leverage up the potential within your business. We can take any period of time from a work perspective and cut it into 4 key areas: high lifetime value activities, high dollar per value activities, low dollar per hour value activities, and 0 or negative dollar per hour activities. Here, if you imagine from just a broad perspective, think of these almost like categories at this stage. High lifetime value activities include exercise, health, education, building relationships. Level 2 activities are high dollar per activities, anything that rings the cash register or brings in revenue right now. Talking to a key customer, making a sale, even in fact designing a process that somebody else can then replicate or follow in the future. That's a very good example of a strategic high dollar per hour activity. Now these are just broad examples, and you can cut these down to the specific detail for yourself and your role in your business. Level 3 activities are the low dollar per hour activities. They're anything that's administrative by nature. This is the busy work, okay? Organising items, repeatable processes and activities, customer service, marketing, execution, anything that you do twice or 3 times along the way, and you start to see that that if I can learn how to do it, then chances are someone else can learn how to do it, and we can hand that over to keep the mind share focused on the level 2 activities. Now, of course, there are also the level 4, the 0 or negative dollar per hour activities, and these are the office distractions, surfing the internet, gossiping, worrying, procrastinating. Heck, you can read ahead. We all feel these within our businesses. No matter how effective you are, this is going to always exist. The game is to be able to, of course, do less of level 3 and 4 so we can focus more time on levels 2 and 1 to have a very balanced lifestyle. Now, there are different approaches that you can take to get there. By outsourcing offshore your level 3 activities and essentially strategically making a choice to cut these ones out and push them offshore, you can start to free up more time for the level 2 activities so that you and your team can turn your productivity pyramid really into the spearhead and start focusing more on the level 2 activities, playing a winning game at this level 2 so that you can get that sense of winning within the team and have that bigger yes in this area and able to say no to those level 4 activities because you've got the free time, you've taken the level 3 and you've sent those offshore. Another way to visualize it would be to say, let's work with our local team members, let's help them be even more effective in their roles by handing off those level 3 activities to one or multiple virtual team members offshore and essentially redesign the workforce to help them succeed. So the game we play at GoVA is not about sending jobs offshore, it's actually about supporting our existing team members to bolster them up and allow them to be more effective and deliver even greater results. In your own business, you could look at it this way. You could just draw out the org chart and at each layer recognize that everyone's got their own workforce productivity pyramid and actually play the game with the team. Draw up and I'll show you an example. You're going to have a downloadable tool in just one moment to access. Get those workforce productivity pyramids filled out and then think about how do we change that at each level into the spearhead by offloading those level 3 activities and start building your offshore work team to support the team members. So here's how it can work for you. Download the tool to be able to do this with your team. Put it up on a big piece of butcher's paper on the wall with team members and brainstorm around it, or have individuals fill out their own productivity pyramid first and then move forward to collaborating as a team and having a discussion around it. One of the easiest ways to do it is get very clear on what the top goal is for that particular person, write that up the top, and then have them start to fill out what are high lifetime value, level 2, level 3, and level 4 activities. And then have a discussion around which of those could in fact be automated, which should be delegated, and which items should be discarded as well. And go through, mark those up, and start turning that pyramid into the spearhead. Okay, let's get into rule number 3 now, to systematize for scale. And let's have a look at some options for turning the activities that we currently do into standard operating procedures and marked up processes. When a human being is really clear on what the outcome needs to be, it's amazing how fast they can proceed towards delivering those results. Even more powerful is when the individual is involved in articulating what that process is. And so with that in mind, there are a number of steps that we can use to really engage a team to get clear on processes. And especially this step is when it comes to outsourcing. And if you've got any team members that may feel a bit fearful about sending tasks offshore because they'll be concerned about what their current role is and whether their job is safe, it's really important that we've done the workforce productivity pyramid activity first so they can get clear on what level 2 and 3 activities are, and so that they can have some buy-in to the items that they'd like to see sent offshore. Then involve them in this next step so they can be involved in getting clear on what the processes are that they can also send offshore, and then allow them to start to feel almost like they can breathe more oxygen around, oh, I'm going to have more time. I'm going to be able to focus on delivering the results that the organisation is actually asking for. This is going to be great. So it's a very important. These are very important steps in your change program. Now, often a standard operating procedure can be really simple. It's really just steps, the tasks that we do on a regular basis, and articulating those out. We can go from simple checklists or perhaps a written document all the way through to a process map, as this example shows on the screen right now. Now, the beauty of using a process map, we use a great tool called Lucidchart, which means that you can do this in the cloud and collaborate together around a process map, and even add in hyperlinks for documents that are regularly used. You can even insert a training video to also show what's currently going on. In fact, here's one that was done only 2 days ago with one of our clients.
So let's say, all right, the book is now in their hand.
Down the bottom of the screen there, she's over
hey, I got this book,
States.
And then the direct report says,
Sydney.
yeah, I got it too, and I've already read the first 3 chapters, and this is amazing.
And two of the team members
and then the
who
third
are
says,
watching intently,
yeah, I also received it,
interacting
I've made it all the
around
way
these
through the
processes
book.
that
My
are being
goodness, this
designed
is such
and
good stuff.
together.
The next thing,
all just via the web meeting. The beauty of that is that video is then captured by the team members, who then deconstruct it and turn it into a standard operating procedure, which makes it a really fast process for building your standard operating procedures. You hand that off to your offshore team to do. And because every piece of activity that they'll be doing is behind a computer screen, a simple screen share and video meeting like we see here allows a leader, a team member from your own organisation to just show someone step by step, hey, here's how we currently do it, and then hand it off to the team member to build out the standard operating procedure from that video. It also means that you've always got that video as a training tool in the future as well. And it takes that real burden of, oh my goodness, how will we even get started in this process of standard operating procedures? There's just not enough time to do it. We don't think that anyone's got the technical sort of systems thinking to do it. Often everything's there. We just need to be able to hand that activity over to someone else to do. And at GoVA, all of the offshore team members that we have in our centre that we house and care for clients, potential clients like yourself, they have what we call a results coach who's there to help guide them through the building of standard operating procedures. So there's always someone there to help you out as well. Here's an exercise that you can do with your team, and this is around just coming together with a very simple process and engaging with your team. If you'd like to do this in your own office before you get started with team members, this is often very helpful. It's often really good to discover or uncover what types of activities can be sent offshore for you. This simple example that we've got for you today is around generating new business appointments. And we could consider here that, what are some of the steps around creating some new business appointments. One of those would be, well, we need a list. We need to research a list of targeted people that we'd like to communicate to. And then, of course, at the end outcome that we're after is attending an actual appointment. And you notice here we've got the sticky notes. These are a really great way to do this and engage with the team. Stand up together, grab a bunch of team members that are responsible for this. So this is a good example of sales team members meeting with a sales manager. Grab the post-it notes, grab the pens, the markers, get that piece of butcher's paper up and start brainstorming. Write an idea and then put it down on the butcher's paper. So, of course, we could send a letter out. Another thing we could do is send an email through LinkedIn. Another item we could do is make a phone call. That would kind of be a good idea. And of course, once we're successful on a phone call, send a calendar invite and then, of course, go and have that meeting. Now, there's many other different steps we can put in there, but just a simple example to get our brains flowing today. And, of course, who would do all those activities? Now, traditionally, we may see that the salesperson is doing all those activities. So we could move all those post-it notes over to the salesperson. Right now the salesperson's thinking, man, I'm so busy anyway, there's so much I've got to get done, it feels like a real burden to do all these things, or there's just not enough time, we often find. And salespeople, or anyone really saying these days, so many distractions. So then we think about, okay, well, let's talk about scaling, let's talk about offshoring, and let's consider outsourcing to an additional person and have a full-time role as a sales coordinator that's there to support the salesperson to deliver upon their goals. Here we could then say, well, a sales coordinator, they could research the list. and then check it back with the salesperson. They could also send a letter out. Now, we use a great piece of technology called Bing Mail. Have a look at bingmail.com. Our sales coordinators, when they create a letter in Word, rather than printing the letter out to the local printer in the office, it prints to Bing Mail, where it automatically prints the letter and automatically stuffs it in an envelope and sends it out in the mail. We don't even have to touch a thing. Very powerful. All can be done from the Philippines. Another activity that the sales coordinator could do is actually send in-mails through LinkedIn. It's another great thing that can be done. Even could be one sales coordinator could be working with multiple salespeople doing this. Sales coordinator can even make the phone call, and using voice over IP, that number is tailed to a local number, so even the calls come from Australia and Australian numbers. Of course, the sales coordinator could even send out that calendar invite. So all of a sudden, look at all the time we've freed up just in this one of the many processes a salesperson's involved in that can now be done by a sales coordinator offshore at a fraction of the price that we could do it in Australia. Now, we could go one step further again. We could think, well, how could we scale this up even further? And consider that even that activity of the researching, data mining or list building, or whatever you like to call it, could be done by a researcher that's also offshore. So now we can further scale it out. So we're really starting to move into what we call a sales process engineering approach in order to really look at how we further scale out the business. Here's another way of looking at a simple example. It could be done just as basically as a Excel spreadsheet where we brainstorm the different steps in the process and also look for the different roles in the organisation and just allocate who would do those particular activities. It can easily be done by using a web meeting and just a spreadsheet and doing that with your team members, whether they're offshore or they're local. Okay, let's, wow, systems area. There's so much we can do in that space. It is such an important rule to be effective when it comes to outsourcing offshore. We see there's a lot of excitement that can occur early on about just the massive cost savings that are available when it comes to outsourcing offshore. And there's a big exciting moment. However, if we're not clear on what those processes are, poor team members are left wondering what it is they need to do. So this is a really vital step. At GoVA, when we work with our clients, we help you with those first 3 processes that you're planning out to make sure they're documented well so your team members can have a very effective start. All right, let's have a look at rule number 4, which is talent selection criteria. Every organisation, whether they're looking at this locally or offshore, really does need a talent selection criteria. As Jim Collins said, it's all about having the right people on the right seats, in the right seats on the bus in order to really succeed and to really move from good to great. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, USA, UK, Japan, the Philippines, India, Vietnam, it doesn't matter where you are. This whole game is a people play, and it's about getting great talent to be able to execute on the activities and deliver the results you're after. So, ensuring that we're recruiting well. Now, GoVA, I guess at the heart of our business, we are recruiters per se, as well as performance and results delivery experts and how to drive changes in human behaviour. Fiona Kesby, our recruitment director, with over 16 years experience in recruitment and often the most challenging roles in an incredibly short time. She works from a behavioural-based perspective with our recruitment team to attract the top talent. And as a tip, I'd recommend everyone grabs the book Top Grading by Bradford Smart. I've been very fortunate to spend some time around top grading, both with Bradford and over the years in my own businesses, in fact since 2005 using the top grading method and placing over 600 people in roles and using this methodology. It has just the most powerful way to ensure you get the right people in your business. We use that at GoVA and something that I would recommend you do. Now, why do I point out or stress the importance of the talent selection criteria in this recruitment piece so much? Well, it's mainly because we can easily get distracted by really affordable labour. You know, getting someone for $1.80 per hour to be able to do an activity or $5 or $9 or $11 or whatever the hourly rates are going to be. If we go down really low and we get distracted by that price, I think we've all learnt the lesson before. You buy something really cheap, you tend to get a really cheap result, or it doesn't last too long. And so that's what we're going to see here. So this is just a watch out. I've been outsourcing offshore since 2008, and I've been there. I've made those mistakes in the early days, and I believe really investing in people to get the results that you're after, and making sure that we don't overpay, but we're paying a really good amount that's going to attract the top talent. We're also hiring against values to make that work too, and we look for A performers who have delivered results in the past. So please don't confuse the hourly rate with an output either, okay? Because we can see somebody who might be on $5 an hour deliver an output that may cost you $25, $35 an hour locally. So also don't be misguided by the low rates as well. It's very important to do testing around specific tasks to make sure that team members have got the capacity or capability to be able to deliver on what you're after. And as a personal tip, we really recommend that you aim high around the English language. For those that are hiring for Australia or US or UK, and the English language is really important for you, I personally pay a little more based on having high quality English. And the reason is that it speeds up our communication process and we're able to get to a result a lot faster. So if I went really cheap, down around the $1.80 an hour, I could get a resource that could do an activity, but the English communication may not be as effective, and therefore I would spend more time training and burning more head hour time, or at my level, a more expensive hourly rate, and so we're not getting that win. It's not the right trade-off. I think the term might be where the tail wags the dog. We want to avoid that situation from occurring. The beauty of the Philippines is that they're with over 100 million people, and in the English language being the #1 language in the Philippines, it's the 3rd largest English-speaking country in the world. Now, there are quite a number of additional dialects, and just like in any country, the quality of English communication, both written and oral, is going to vary from city to city and town to town. So being able to get this part right is really important. Now, at GoVA, whenever we find top talent for our clients, one of the things we do is we send through profiles for the team members. And you can see here Grace. Some of you may get an opportunity to communicate with Grace. She's one of our sales coordinators. And as an example, at GoVA, someone like Grace would cost around $9 Australian when we include both the managed operations and the employment costs together. It would come out to about $9 Australian per hour. Or here's Katrina, who is our in-house writer and editor. And somebody like Katrina, she's actually got experience working in the US as a journalist, as well as an editor at a magazine publication in Singapore, would come at a full-time rate, would come in just over $13.60 an hour Australian. So, and to a comparative person, if I was hiring a writer of Katrina's experience from a freelance perspective in Australia, I'd be expecting to pay about $95 plus per hour. And so for our perspective, it's amazing. We get to now have a full-time content writer, and it's potential that you can access some of Katrina's work on an hourly basis, and we can help you walk through that as well.
Hi, my name is
whenever you do,
I have a bachelor's degree in
go back
mass
on the slide there.
communication.
Whenever you do receive a shortlist of applicants from GoVA for full-time positions, we do send through a short video of an interview so you can hear the English. So let's hear
My
Katrina.
name is Katrina. I have a bachelor's degree in mass communication. My achievements include having been able to
So as you can hear, communicating with Katrina is just a wonderful experience because her English is just superb. That's a really important piece. Now, because we do the recruitment activities so often, and we've got a full-time recruitment team led by Australian Director Fiona Kesby, who is actually based in Cebu in the Philippines, we're able to offer the shortlisting service not just for your new team members at GoVA that will be housed and cared for in Cebu at GoVA, but also for new team members in Australia. So keep that in mind. We can also assist you with shortlisting services that are just a fraction of the cost that you would see in Australia, and we've even got a $99 discount offer for you today, which we'll send through please just enter in the code on our shortlisting page, enter in MK001. Enter in that code MK, and it's for me, Matt Kesby, 001, and you'll be able to get yourself a $99 discount. So enjoy that one on behalf of us. Okay, let's have a quick look now at that's our rules for effective outsourcing and a few extra tidbits, and there's even more available in that space on our website for you to go and check out. Let's have a look now at the core 4 approaches. We can move from the very sort of simplest end, which would be people working from home as freelancers, all the way up to actually having your own company offshore and your own location and all the complexity that brings. So let's talk about each one. I know I started out with utilizing Odesk. It was a really great tool where I could get people to work on an hourly basis based on different projects. Now, the upside of that is low risk on commitment. Doesn't take much time, pay by the hourly rate, you get to choose who you like. The downsides I found along the way was, as I got excited and running lots of different projects, before I know it, I was running all these projects and I wasn't doing my main work. And I spent too much time actually managing lots of different freelancers that would come and go and would also leave and go and do other jobs that they might get a higher rate for. And I got to a point where I recognized that, wow, this is actually becoming ineffective. It's actually costing me money rather than making me money. Now, we could jump all the way to the other end now where we think about setting up your own company offshore. Now, the upside of that, lots of control. The downside, of course, all the setup costs, hundreds of thousands of dollars to really be able to set up effectively, and then not even knowing how big you like to scale the business or at what point in time you're going to grow, and trying to manage leases and connection issues and local government permits and all that just complexity of running your own offshore location. You could also be looking for business process outsourcing. That's where you send a very clear, specific task to somebody to complete. That can be really helpful for many organisations, and it may also be not as flexible because you don't get to choose who's going to work on the activities. You don't get some levels of transparency, and so you hand over a lot of that control, which really doesn't work for most organisations. We believe there's a better way, and that's what's called managed operations, and that's where, for example, organisations like ourselves at GoVA, we take care of all the building, the infrastructure, the seats, the lights, the computer connections, the hardware, all the HR, payroll, legal sides of employing people, in order to allow you to have your own full-time team members housed and cared for within our modern facility. It's an incredibly cost-effective approach that gives you all of the benefits of having your own offshore business without the expense. One of the other great things about using managed operations, and we believe at GoVA, is that we're here to really help focus on the retention and well-being with your team members. Every month the team members go out and there's a physical activity. It could be zip lining to tenpin bowling. You can see the basketball team getting together there, laser tag, might even just be going to the movies. And then the team members go to a dinner where acknowledgements and awards are handed out. And so just that wonderful boost in morale and retention each month with these activities. So you might even start out with a single person in your offshore team, and in the future scale to 10 and 20 and so forth. But to begin with, you know that they're being housed and cared for by a group of like-minded people who are just totally focused here to help you to scale and see you to succeed. Each of the team members enjoy a wonderful range of benefits, all the way from working with a group of people who've got a set of values around care and drive and to learn and executing and always finding a way. Even to every day when they check in, they swipe on at work, we ask them a question around their health and well-being on that day, thanks to the workforce management systems e-check-in tool that's available both in Australia and everywhere around the world. And so we get to check where's that well-being aspect of the team member. So we've probably all been there where you've arrived at work and maybe the traffic was hectic or public transport was late, or maybe you had a fight with your significant other and you're just not focused on what it is you need to do. If you're not feeling good, then you can just rate and say, you know what, my well-being's a bit low today. And if it's too low, it does trigger a message off to our well-being officer, who goes and sits down and has a chat with the person. Hey, where are you at? What's up? And they're able to help that person talk through what the issues are. A little bit of cognitive behavioural therapy right there to talk through those steps and where they're at, and acknowledge that they feel that way, and actually kind of shake it off, let it go, and move on and focus on with the day. I'm sure you'd agree that that would be beneficial to many people, even your own teams locally as well. Some of the benefits that team members get when they work at GoVA is that 15 days per year versus 5 days, which is local law standards, private medical insurance, and there's a whole range of different items we'd be happy to share with you in the near future. We also like to, at our location at GoVA, we love to invite you to come and spend some time in the office or certainly at the beaches close by. We love our location, CEBU. We've selected it strategically for you because there are over 4.65 million people in Cebu. It's the second largest city in the Philippines. There's 22 universities servicing our location. And it's got an extremely mature business process outsourcing industry for the United States, which means most of the people working in the industry are working the graveyard shift, so midnight till 9 a.m. or 10 p.m. till 8 a.m., these sorts of hours. And so we've got the ability to really attract the brightest and best to move to work in the Australian hours. We also do run 24 hours and service the United States as well, and we can service the UK all around the world. Okay, you've got to find an approach that suits you though. And this is just our approach. We may be the right fit for you. If it sounds interesting, you'd like to learn more, we'd love to pick up a conversation. Or you might like to be considering something like an ODES to get started. Either way, let's have a chat and we'll be able to give you some insights. All right, let's put it all together now and consider a strategic workforce example. Once again, back to our productivity pyramid, thinking like that. We want to think like the productivity pyramid all the way through. Local country resource and how we scale it out with our offshore virtual team members. Let's look at that sales process and re-engineer it here as an example. So we've got the business development manager or the salesperson who has a target list. They've got to build a target list, they've got to do their prospecting, and they can eventually turn that person into a client. Well, this is where we could start to segregate those duties or split the tasks out, just like we did in the brainstorm example with the post-it notes earlier, and have the sales coordinator now working on the target list and doing that first prospecting piece so that the business development manager can focus on the meetings with new and potential clients in order to close more deals. You can see those boxes there starting to scale it up. Well, we could scale it up one step further again and have a list builder or a researcher that's just doing that target list area, and then the sales coordinator working is able to spend more time on that prospecting area, and then have our business development manager spending more time out there on the roads or on the phones or across the web meetings, or essentially connected in person with our prospects and potential new clients. And then there's a whole range of different pieces of software that you can use to really help you out here. And when you start working with us at GoVA, some of the things that we really love doing with our clients and what you can look forward to is knowing that you've got full-time team members who are dedicated to your success, and then we'll work with you with some suggestions around different types of technology that you can put together in order to further scale out the results that you get. In an upcoming webinar, we'll be sharing with you the concept of marketing automation and how we use the tool Hubspot in order to help automate many steps of that marketing and sales and ongoing communication and nurturing process for your clients. You know, I remember many years ago hearing that it takes 11 touch points to turn someone from who doesn't know you to then being considering to purchase from you. I've heard recently that it actually goes more to like 14 touch points, and it's not surprising with the amount of communication that is out there and noise that it requires more effort to be able to educate a client to trust a potential salesperson or company and want to make the decision to purchase from them. And so therefore automation is a really key component of this whole process. What you can look forward to when working with us and being on our list, we'll be sharing with you new content ideas every month to help you succeed, and a range of different tools and ideas and education pieces. We certainly really look forward to sharing those items with you because our mission is to help your business to scale and be a real catalyst for your people to exceed, and help you build that offshore team so that you can move forward, increase your revenue, improve customer service within your business, and really decrease your costs through outsourcing offshore, process improvement. Any of our partners are really keen and willing to be able to have a conversation with you, just have a chat and see whether it makes sense and whether we're a right fit together. I really encourage you to pick up the phone and give them a call or shoot through an email to just have that discovery session and see where it could go. Often there are so many different ideas. You've either got so many different ideas, it's where do we start, or this sounds like a good idea, but I'm not too sure where to start. No matter where you are at, our partners are here to help you to move through that. The really cool thing is that there are just an abundance of positions that can be applied to your business. If there is a role that can be done with a computer, an internet connection, and a telephone, then there are people who have graduated from university, have got previous experience, that are really keen and willing to work. I mean, have a look at this list. These are just some of the examples of positions we've filled. And there's positions that we never even considered filling, but because our role is to find you the best top talent, we can bring that talent into place, and then because they become your team members, then it's over to you to do that training piece. We'll give you guidance. We'll have our internal results coaches that are there to check and meet with your team for 4 minutes at the start of the day to make sure they're clear on their tasks at hand, available to clear a path through the day if they get stuck. They're there each week to review and do a planning process with your team members and just make sure that your team members are staying on top of their key performance indicators. So it's quite a unique offering that we have, and it's all based on the work that we actually do with organisations in Australia that I've done personally, Christine has done, as we work helping organisations to execute their results locally with local teams. We apply the similar principles at GoVA, so you really get to have a unique competitive advantage when we work together. Our approach to manage operations, we love to offer you really transparent pricing. The way it works, if you'd like to commence with us, it's $695 per month for the seat and the basic computer package, all the internet connection and HR support and payroll and the coordination of all the monthly retention activities. That all happens for 695 Australian dollars per month. And we can work out your local pricing as well. We take care of all that, so you don't have to worry about the operations piece, and you can focus on working with your team members to turn them into really effective individuals and drive the results you're after. Here's an example for like a sales coordinator position as an example, or sort of researcher position, and employment costs would work out to be $756 per month. So overall, $1,400 odd per month. Somebody at $8.40 or $9 or $9.50 per hour, if you think about that sort of rate, may cost you $25, $35 even more locally in order to have a similar position done full-time for you. So if we look at a different example, here's one for one of our clients, high-end graphic and web design experience, base salary in Australia of $90,000 when they looked at all their on-costs over $117,000 a year it costs that business in order to fulfill a similar position. We will always put in front of you intermediate and advanced examples of individuals and pricing so you can understand that. And there's a great calculator on our website that helps you look at essentially the business case for your own business. Here in this example, the organisation, Australian listed company, they went with the advanced option, and in fact saving themselves over $89,000 a year on having the new team members join the business. So if you're into scaling up your business and increasing results, and you'd like to save some money in the way that you do it, please contact us. You can either contact me directly, and I'll help you with Luigi, my assistant. We'll have to tee up one of our best partners to speak with, or jump on a call with myself, and allow us to have some time together to understand where your business is at, where you'd like to go, and how outsourcing offshore can make all the difference as you outperform and outclass your competition. Thanks very much for joining me. Looking forward to joining us on one of our upcoming webinars or events. Have a great day. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye for now.